Hi, Bob.
How's it going?
I'm good. How's NAMM this year?
You know what? It's a little smaller than usual, but we have great conversations. We were busy yesterday, and people are happy to be back and interacting. And we do have a new card for the Aurora N product line. We're getting good feedback on it too, so that's a plus.
こんにちは。フックアップロサンゼルス特派員のオーディオエンジニアサラです。今回はこちら年に一度アナハイムで行われている超巨大な音楽機材祭 NAMM2022 のレポートを行っていきたいと思います。I'm at the booth of Lynx with Mike. Morning.
Good morning. Ohayou gozaimasu.
Ohayou gozaimasu. How are you today?
I'm great. We had a great show yesterday. It was actually more crowded than we were expecting. And one thing we wanted to mention is the whole design philosophy of our products and basically the core principles of the company and our reason for being basically is that you see from our backdrop, we had the word transparency, and that's because our belief is that a converter shouldn't sound like anything. When you're converting from analog to digital so that you can record, and when you're listening back, and remember, when you're listening back, you're making critical decisions for the sound. It needs to be accurate. People spend a lot of money on microphones, preamps. Why would you want to change that sound when you're recording to your computer? You want to hear exactly what you spent all that money, for, right? A lot of converters will add their own little coloration to the sound, and sometimes that might sound okay on a kick drum or on a bass guitar. It sounds great. But once you start putting that sound over multiple 90 tracks, more tracks, it makes the sound muddy and it makes the sound not clear anymore. And you can't get rid of that sound because that's part of the converted signal and you can't fix it later.
Yeah.
So especially now these days, with all the different plugins that are available, software plugins in the computer, you could do whatever you need to do later. Record the signal as clean as you can and then deal with it later and make your changes however you want to make them. Actually, on next year is going to be our 25th anniversary, so we've been around for quite a while.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We started out with one little computer card, a regular sound card that everybody has in their computers, and the company took off from there. We started making computer cards, and then we expanded into hardware.
So PCI Express card is very popular in Japan, especially for broadcasting.
Right.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think PCI Express, first of all, as a format, is much faster than the older PCI cards. PCI Express has much lower latency, and what latency is basically the delay in the conversion from analog to digital and back again. Latency is very important in broadcasting, of course. The other part of that is, I think just because of the audio quality, we have two PCI Express cards for the computer. We have an E22, which is 2 inputs and 2 outputs, and we have an E44, which is 4 inputs and 4 outputs. And so I think the conversion quality of the cards is very popular with broadcast as well. We have a number of broadcasters in the United States as well that are using all of our cards in their computers and their computer servers as well for music streaming and transmission.
Now we have Paul here. Hi, Paul.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
So you guys have the new module to the new product?
Yeah, so what we're showing at the show is a new module for the Aurora N, and there's 2 of them. One's the A4 and one's the A24. So the Aurora N, it's really a unique product. You can almost think of it more as like a platform than a fixed feature product. So there are over 100 variations of this product. So like when we first started shipping it in 2017, there was analog inputs and outputs. And you could get 8, 16, 24, 32 channels. Then we added digital, so you could add so you could have 16 analog plus 16 digital. Then we added like a preamp, so you could have some number of preamp inputs versus the analog and the digital. Then we added ADAT, and now we're adding the other. So what it is it's a product that evolves, that adapts to your needs. So like if you're someone that only needs 8 channels but you want the monitor out, you can get that. If you're someone that needs a bunch of digital I/O but a couple channels of analog, you can do that. If you need mic pre's, you could do that. It allows you to get kind of the specific configuration you need. If you have a 16 channel unit and you need 24 channels, you have to get rid of that and get something else.
Exactly.
And then you have to adjust how that sounds and how it works and the stability and all that stuff. So it's kind of disruptive to change. So we've designed this to be something that you're going to use for 10 to 20 years. And you don't think of it as sort of one or even 8 different things. It's really 100 different configurations, and you can change later. So if you start with like 8 or 16 channels and later you decide, oh, now I want to record drums, or I got more outboard gear and I need 8 more channels, you can add 8 more channels to it.
We could customize it. You guys do it?
Well, so it depends on the upgrade. Some upgrades we do allow the end user to do. So you don't have to ship it in, you don't have any downtime. Other upgrades we do have to do because they're a little bit trickier, or Hookup can do them for people in Japan. Okay. So they don't need to come to America, they can have them done there in Japan. Yeah. The most popular configuration is 16 channels with Thunderbolt. We sell the most of those. Also things like a USB version with like 4 channels of mic pre's and 8 channels of analog, that's popular as well. With Dante and Pro Tools, a lot of times we do like the 32 channel, like fully loaded, because people like a lot of channels for that configuration. So this was in response to a lot of people asking for something that was just a dedicated monitor out for the Aurora, because as it's been matched inputs and outputs, so you can have 8x8 or 16x16, and this allows you to have some dedicated output for people to go through to speakers. What's nice about it, it's all analog domain volume control, which is the best way to control monitor output, and it allows someone to not have to get a studio controller or like a speaker controller. Now this will all be handled directly within the Aurora. You can toggle between 2 speaker pairs, so if you want to do like A/B comparisons, you just have to press in on the rotary encoder to switch between them, so that's really handy. The A24 also has a pair of analog inputs, very similar in quality to the inputs that are already on the Aurora. This is handy for people that do like analog summing and you want your return from the summer coming in and then going out to speakers. So rather than needing a separate A to D converter or something for that, now that would be handled internally. Features of the outputs and inputs are more flexible than what's built into the Aurora. So for instance, on the input side, you can toggle between +20 or +24. 2 different pro reference levels. And on the output side, they go in half dB increments as far as the trims, and it's all analog domain volume controls. The way it works is that if you're attenuating volume digitally, at some level you're reducing the resolution of the audio. In the analog domain, you're not. So that's why as a monitor control output specifically, we allow you to do that in the analog domain. People have been asking about this for years and years. So with all the supply chain stuff, we had it designed like 2 years ago, but we haven't really been able to like have it manufactured because of all the disruption to the chip shortage and everything.
What's the target? Yeah. What's the target market?
One of its advantages is it can work in a lot of different contexts, but also might be part of why there's a little bit less awareness, because it's easier to market something where like, here's the box, it does one thing, it's for these people. This is like, well, here's a box, it does a number of different things for a number of different people, it can adapt to what you want. So it's usually like either a commercial recording studio or a recording studio that's kind of high-end for the most part. Our converters were used on, I think, 6 Grammy-winning projects this year. Yeah. So project studios are also popular, but like Dante and stuff is popular with broadcast. The sound quality of this is just extremely good, but specifically it's very detailed and transparent. So it sounds like the source. So we're not making it sound like a certain vibe, we're just making it really accurate to the source. And so for broadcast and things like that, that's exactly what they want. They don't want something that's vibey or distorted in a way or something like that. They just want it to be accurate, and it's very good. In fact, even test and measurement people that do like measure speaker efficiency use it because it is so accurate. But that's not to say it's like clinical or cold sounding. It's really detailed. So when you record an acoustic guitar, you hear all the overtones, all the richness of it. When you hit a cymbal, you hear it decay all the way down, just really smoothly and beautifully. So it's very musical. In addition to the audio channels, the computer connection method, this one is Thunderbolt, which is our most popular, but we do Dante, Pro Tools HD, and USB. It's all passively cooled, so there's no fan. There's software control that's really powerful with it. We now also give you the ability to control it through a MIDI controller, like a Mckee MCU or something that has MCU emulation. The clocking is sort of industry excelling. It's less than 7 parts per million of drift, so it's what they call mastering quality clock. The headphones are very high quality, mastering grade headphones. The navigation is all with the display. You can control it from the front or from the software. It's very flexible with that. It's very efficient in terms of power supply. It's a switching power supply, so if you use it in Europe or elsewhere, it adapts automatically.
I don't know, it's so stylish. It's super slim, compared to what it does. It does a lot of things, but it's very compact.
We wanted to make it where, because it can handle a lot of channels and be kind of busy, that it's not like overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like you feel like you can kind of interact with it. The really unique feature of it is this micro SD card slot, so you can record directly to it. So some people use it for remote recording. You can do up to 32 channels, at 192 kilohertz real high resolution audio directly to the unit. Or in a studio, like when you're recording a band or something, you do a confidence recording. So if the computer crashes, or just with the bands, just jamming or noodling or something, you can capture all of it in case someone comes up with something really good.
Yeah, that's amazing. I saw it. I was like, that is unique. I don't see that in any other computer.
You can record hours and hours of 32-channel audio on a micro SD card that's dirt cheap, basically. So and it's compressed audio. So it's the same quality that's going to the computer. So we've had a couple people say it saved their career. There was one of our users records symphony orchestra. That's like enormously expensive per hour between the musicians in the hall and all the gear. And the computer crashed mid-recording, but because he was also recording it to the SD card, it saved the project, basically. No one had to know what had happened.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's really, it's nice to have somebody from Hookup, and we appreciate our relationship with Hookup. They've been a great partner to Lynx for a lot of years.